Louise. August 1975. The bed is empty. Louise, the counselor, 23, short-limbed, rasp-voiced, jolly, stands barefoot on the warm, rough planks of the cabin called balsam and processes the absence of a body in the lower bunk by the door. Later on, the 10 seconds that pass between sight and inference will serve to her as evidence that time is a human construct, that it can slow or accelerate in the presence of emotion, of chemicals in the blood. The bed is empty. The cabin's single flashlight, the absence of which is used, even in daylight, to indicate that campers have gone to the latrines, is in its home on a shelf by the door. Louise turns slowly in a circle, naming the girls she can see. Melissa, Jennifer, Michelle, Amy, Caroline, Tracy, Kim. 8 campers, 9 beds. She counts and counts again. At last, when she can no longer defer it, she lets one name bob to the surface of her mind. Barbara. The empty bed is Barbara's. She closes her eyes. She imagines herself returning, for the rest of her life, to this place and this moment. A lonely time traveler, a ghost, haunting the cabin called Balsam, willing a body to appear where there is none. Willing the girl herself, Barbara, to walk through the door, to say she has been in the washroom, to say she forgot the rule about taking the flashlight, to apologize disarmingly, as she has done before. But Louise knows that Barbara won't do any of these things. She senses, for reasons she can't quite articulate, that Barbara is gone. Of all the campers, Louise thinks, of all the campers to go missing. At 6:25 a.m., Louise walks back through a curtain into the space she shares with Annabelle, the counselor in training. She's 17, a ballet dancer from Chevy Chase, Maryland. Annabelle Southworth is closer in age to the campers than she is to Louise, but she stands upright and infuses her words with irony, and in general works to ensure that everyone recognizes the firm line between 13 and 17, a line made manifest by the plywood partition that separates the main part of the cabin from the counselor's corner. Now Louise shakes her awake. Now Annabelle squints, crooks an elbow over her eyes dramatically, sinks back into sleep. Louise is becoming aware of something, the smell of metabolized beer. She had assumed it was coming from her own body, from her own skin and mouth. She certainly drank enough last night to feel the effects this morning. But standing over Annabelle, she wonders whether the smell, in fact, has been coming from Annabelle's side of the room, which concerns her. "Annabelle," Louise whispers. In her tone, she suddenly recognizes the sound of her own mother. And in some ways she feels like her mother, her bad mother, her irresponsible mother, in relation to this girl. Annabelle opens her eyes. She sits up and winces immediately. She meets Louise's gaze and her eyes widen. Her face becomes pale. "I'm gonna be sick," she says, too loudly. Louise shushes her, grabs at the first vessel she can reach, an empty bag of potato chips on the floor. Annabelle lunges for the bag, retches, then raises her head, panting, groaning lowly. "Annabelle," Louise says, "are you hungover?" Annabelle shakes her head, scared. "I think she says, and again Louise shushes her, sitting down on the girl's bed this time, counting to 5 in her mind, the way she has done since she was a small child, training herself not to react. Annabelle's chin is trembling. "I think I ate something bad," she whispers. "Did you go out last night?" says Louise. Annabelle. Annabelle watches her, calculating. This is important, says Louise. Normally she has patience for her CITs. She has practiced in guiding them through their first hangovers, doesn't mind when they indulge a little on a night off. As head counselor this year, she generally turns a blind eye to behavior she deems harmless, partakes in it herself when the moment feels right. But she otherwise runs a tight ship. Earlier this summer, the first counselor to fail to wake up on time after a night of carousing was banned from the next several parties, and that seemed to set enough of an example that no one has repeated the mistake. Until now. Because last night, while Louise went out, it was Annabelle's turn to be on duty. And Annabelle, apparently, wasn't.